Welcome back to Official John Hart. I am John Hart, your host. All right, the reps. When it comes to your workouts, 20 rep sets, do they cause muscles to grow? Now, Tom Platz is famous. Tom Platz was famous for his leg development. He was a IFBB pro bodybuilder all throughout the 80s and just way before his time when it comes to size, thickness, development of those legs especially. He marketed those things because they were so different. But his upper body as well was pretty amazing. And reps, he always would say that the magic happens when you lift both heavy weights and you do a lot of reps. Now, here's the thing when he's saying that, okay? It sounds almost impossible, like it's oxymoronic. How can you do both? But it's relative, all right? So when it comes to doing 20 rep sets, one of the questions I've been asked quite often is can you grow muscle on 20 rep sets? The answer to that is yes, you can. Studies have proven that you can go anywhere from 5 to 30 reps. That's the most often quoted numbers, and I do find them to be true. Between 5 and 30 reps on most muscle groups. Now, some, like your legs, are going to benefit a little bit more with the higher repetition range because they're built to handle some more reps, anywhere from 15 to 30, let's say, for most leg exercises. But let's not get caught in those weeds right there. The whole deal is this. What kind of a mistake could most of y'all be making when it comes to the reps? Well, it's not mixing up the reps, okay? You'll see in all the routines that I write, and keep in mind, routine is the second thing I'm going to get after in a moment. But in all the routines that I write, you'll notice in my books and all these videos that I do, you'll notice that I tend to alternate the reps between workouts, between a slightly more power zone of 5 to 10 reps, let's say for upper body muscles, and 8 to 12 for leg muscles, alternated with a 8 to 12 for upper body muscles, maybe even 10 to 15. And as far as the legs go, 12 to 20. I move it up to 20, as high as 20 on an exercise, okay? And that all happens within a 2-week period where you're doing both lower repetitions and higher repetitions. Why do I do that? The number one reason is not really having to do with just muscle stimulation, but it's actually for your head. That variation is amazing. So as someone who's been a trainer for 41 years now, and I've trained myself for 41 years as well, thousands of people, there has to be some kind of engagement, something to look forward to going to the gym. Otherwise, the attrition rate drops off quickly, okay? Or the attrition rate goes up. They fall off quickly, in other words. So moving the repetitions from a power zone up to a higher repetition zone works wonderfully well, okay? Having that variation. And again, Tom Platz was famous for doing that. I highly recommend if you can get a hold of his book, Pro Style Bodybuilding. You'll see within that book that there are both power rep schemes as well as higher repetition schemes mixed into the same training cycles. So that's something that I regularly do, and I have my clients regularly do, and I recommend you do as well. If there's a difference that it makes with regards to your muscles and how they look, if you're lean enough to see the difference, I would agree that there is some sort of a subtle difference in there as well. And I'll remind you, I've talked every once in a while about my old friend, Ray Campisi was a personal trainer just like I was at Gold's Gym in Venice, and we were there for years. And his favorite way to have people work out was to have them bump up their reps between 15 and 20 reps all the time. But the key thing was training to momentary muscular failure. That's the key. In all of the studies, in all the things that my buddy Ray did, all the things that I've done with people training in that higher repetition zone, you have to take it to the point where you're training to momentary muscular failure. That's the answer, where you cannot lift the weight in good form one more time, with the exception of squats and deadlifts, okay? You want to do those in perfect form the whole way through. Stop 1 rep shy on those. And it'll be severe enough if you do 20 reps. The number 2 thing that I see, and I used the word routine earlier on in this video, that does need to be addressed is I've been asked many times in my videos, in the comments section to these videos right below, whenever I jump from doing a video on my AB routine to a video on something like push-pull legs, PPL, okay? I mention both of them as being great. And the fact of the matter is they are, okay? Again, I'll refer you to some of my own writings, the Mr. America Shape Up series. I documented an entire 14 months of my training, how I did on myself. And you'll see I cycle routines. There are great routines and techniques out there that I cycle in and out of training. And again, that has to do with, a large majority of it has to do with this. Could you do the same routine over time and not change it? Sure. Sure, eventually you'll be bored to tears and you're going to have to change something if you want to stay motivated to go in the gym and work out. That's a fact. So, routines. Should you stick with the same routine all the time? No. I would methodically plan out your year, just like I do with myself, just like I do with my clients. So with myself, we're heading into the winter here in Texas, and I always have a power phase come up, lifting like a power lifter in the middle of my winter, where that's the only focus. And that's all I do is, for a good 3-month period, maybe even 4 months, I train strictly in a powerlifting fashion. And it's great. It keeps me motivated for training long term, because as soon as I'm done with that, I want to go back to training high intensity and just blast. So that's it. Can you grow on 20 rep sets? Yes, you can. Take them to momentary muscular failure. Should you rotate the repetitions or change them up even within microcycles of 2-week training? Yes, absolutely. And then the other thing, routines. Should you stick with a routine? Well, technically, no. You should rotate or change occasionally routines and take a week off in between them, maybe even 2 weeks if you've been training really intensely. It depends on how intensely you've been training. That's it. 2 greatest tips I could throw out at you today. From my heart to you, John Hart. Hey, before you leave, I need a favor, a big favor. Off to my left, you're going to see that subscribe button pop up. Will you please tap that subscribe button before you leave? It helps me and the channel out, keeps me on YouTube, and it lets the channel grow. Down below and off to your left, you're going to see a thumbs up button. Would you give that thing a tap as well before you go? If you're liking the videos that I do and the information that I give, it lights up the YouTube algorithm. It lights me up too. I'll see you in the next video.